Hey, how you doing? It's Waifu Belector, and as I continue to die under the crushing weight of 2023's video game releases, I still have to be bombarded with promises of next year's releases, and that includes Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second part to the reimagining / sequel of the original Final Fantasy VII. And in the past few weeks, we've gotten the release date with pre-orders up, as well as extended looks from Tokyo Game Show. And I have to say, this game is looking fucking fantastic, but I can't believe it. I can't allow myself to believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, or when I experience it rather, because I've been taken for a ride before when it comes to Final Fantasy. Listen, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy fan in the world. I don't know everything about Final Fantasy, and I haven't even played anywhere near all of the games. But of the 5 mainline titles that I've played, I can't say I've ever experienced a truly great Final Fantasy game. Most of the ones I played were good, maybe even really good, but nothing definitively great in my opinion. So which ones have I played, right? You're saying, Waifu Belector, you played the wrong ones. Which games have warped your idea of Final Fantasy? Fair enough, I'll tell you. I've played Final Fantasy 12, 13, 15, 16, and 7 Remake, as well as Crisis Core and Stranger of Paradise, but those are to the side. And of the ones that I played, the only one I didn't like, the only one I would deem to be bad in the bunch, was 13. I thought 12 was a solid enough game. It's actually pretty remarkable how decently it holds up considering its age. 15 is a good game, but nothing too special going on there. 16 is also good, although it has some wild problems. Check out my video about Final Fantasy 16 if you get the chance. I'll put it up at the end. But then there's 7 Remake, which I think is the best of my Final Fantasy bunch. I think it's really good and has one of the best combat systems I've ever seen in an action RPG, but there's also a lot of story, and the story's not great, plus it can't shake this Final Fantasy trend of restrictiveness and faux choice. I mean, it's aggressively linear for something calling itself an RPG, and that honestly might be fine, but it goes its full 35-hour runtime pretending to be this choice-filled, play-your-way, customizable experience when it just isn't. There are not multiple ways to play this game. Your playthrough was just like mine, but at every turn the game insists on acting like that isn't the case. I may have never seen a greater display of delusion inside a video game. And let me be clear, I really enjoyed my time with 7 Remake. This is just what I believe to be the truth of why it's a really good game and not a great one. And then, as 16 was coming out, and I kept seeing more and more of it, I started to think, oh man, this is it. This is the one. This is where we go over the hill to true greatness. But it wasn't. And so I've reached a point where I have to accept what they're showing me, what they've shown me. And I can't be swept up in another false hope, even when that hope is as shiny and easy to fall for as these new looks at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But hold on, I know you might be thinking, dude, working backwards here, why did you stop at 12? Why didn't you play 10, 9, 8, the original 7? Good question. And well, I'll be honest with you, they're too fucking old. No, let me explain it better. Listen, I've played my fair share of extremely old games. I've gone back to my fair share of extremely old games. And from what I gather, once a game's like 20 years old, the rating threshold usually caps out at about a 6. The 15-year-old game threshold is around a 7. And those thresholds is just what's typical if you ask me. But of course, there can be outliers. There can also be HD or remastered versions that tweak some of the game's faults and make it a bit better, but if the guts of the game are the same, it usually doesn't do all that much. And so I stopped at Final Fantasy 12 because I didn't want to be playing 10 more 30-hour 6 out of 10 or worse games that likely don't hold up very well unless you have the nostalgia to put them on the back of. And if that's the only way to make them stand, does it really hold up? However, despite my feelings and what I believe or think, I still want to open up the floor to you, the good people. If you have played a Final Fantasy game that I haven't and think I should, please put it down in the comments. You don't even have to leave a reason if you don't want to, but please let me know if you're not too busy. I'd love for you to tell me which one of these ancient prehistoric games I should play so I can eventually get around to one or two of them, maybe even more if they don't suck. But I'm telling you, if I play one of these things and it fucking sucks, no, but seriously, I really would appreciate suggestions. Hopefully you have good judgment and not just nostalgic memories. And I say I'll eventually get around to it because there is currently entirely too much shit to play, but when I get the chance, I'll get around to one of these games, assuming you guys suggest anything, you know? I could just be talking to the wind. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a relatively short video of me explaining why I will not allow myself to get excited about what FF7 Rebirth could be, because I've been burned before. And in all likelihood, this will just be another Final Fantasy game. I have to remember that. Because as it stands, I like Final Fantasy as a franchise. I enjoy it. But I have yet to experience a reason to love it. And I really want to love it. Anyway, until next time, I am Waifu Collector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai and I like, but don't love, Final Fantasy. Goodbye.